world had forgotten what came before. Civilizations had risen and fallen, oceans had shifted, and the stars had watched in silence, as time erased the scars of an ancient war that once split the earth in two. But deep beneath the crust of the planet, far below the layers of stone and time, something still stirred, something that remembered. 60 million years ago, before humans, before even the dinosaurs drew their last breath, the earth was not ruled by creatures of flesh and blood as we know them. It was ruled by titans, ancient gods of nature and chaos. And among them, two names echoed across eternity: King Kong, the titan of strength and Earth's protector, and Medusa, the Serpent Queen of Darkness, the mistress of stone and shadow. Kong had been born from the heart of the planet, molded by the gods to defend the balance of nature. His roars shaped mountains, his fists could split the sea, and his presence kept the lesser beasts in line. He was the guardian of the living world, the embodiment of primal order. Medusa, on the other hand, was chaos given form. Not the woman of Greek myth as humans later imagined, but something far older, an ancient being from the black oceans of space, who descended upon Earth long before human history. Her eyes could turn matter into lifeless stone. Her serpentine body slithered through worlds, devouring life to expand her domain. She desired only one thing: dominion over all creation. Their conflict began when Medusa emerged from the abyssal trenches, shattering the seabed and poisoning the oceans with her black venom. Creatures of the deep rose under her command, colossal serpents, winged leviathans, and beasts that had no name. Kong, hearing the cries of the dying earth, awoke from his volcanic throne on Skull Island. The first battle tore continents apart. Medusa rose from the sea, her scales glistening like molten obsidian, her eyes glowing with green fire. Kong emerged from the jungle, his massive frame towering over mountains, his fur scorched with magma. The two titans met at the edge of what would one day become the Pacific Ocean. Medusa hissed, her voice echoing across the planet. "This world belongs to me. The weak shall kneel or turn to stone." Kong's only answer was a roar so powerful that it shattered the clouds and split the earth beneath his feet. The clash was apocalyptic. Kong's fists struck like meteors, each blow sending shock waves that created tidal waves thousands of feet high. Medusa's tail lashed around him, constricting his chest, crushing mountains in her coils. Her gaze burned across his arm, turning his fur and skin into solid rock. Kong roared in agony, ripping his own petrified flesh free. For 1,000 years the war raged. Each battle changed the face of the planet. Volcanoes were born from their fury. Deserts formed from the ashes of their war. Whole species vanished, erased in the crossfire between these two primeval gods. But neither could destroy the other. Kong was the strength of Earth itself. Medusa was the corruption that refused to die. So, when the final battle came, it was not won by might, but by sacrifice. In the last age of the Titans, Medusa raised her armies one last time. She commanded the skies, the seas, and the underworld itself. Her serpents coiled around continents, dragging entire mountain ranges into the ocean. The earth screamed. Kong knew that if he fell, all life would follow. So he called upon the ancient energy of the planet's core, the primal light that gave him life. With it, he unleashed the heart roar, a pulse of energy that tore through Medusa's armies, disintegrating them into dust. The sound of it was said to be heard in the stars. But Medusa did not die easily. She wrapped herself around Kong, her body stretching across thousands of miles. Her eyes blazed with pure hatred. "You cannot destroy me, beast," she hissed. "I am eternal." Kong's voice thundered back. "Then you will sleep beneath my world forever." With a final roar, he plunged his arm deep into the molten crust, dragging both himself and Medusa into the earth's core. Lava erupted across the planet, sealing them inside a tomb of fire and stone. The world grew silent. For millions of years, the earth healed. New life arose. Dinosaurs ruled, then perished. Mammals appeared. Humans built their empires on top of forgotten bones. Legends of monsters and gods trickled down through time. Stories of snakes that turned men to stone, of apes that defied gods. But deep within the planet, the war was not over. The balance began to shift again. Human greed bled into the planet, drilling, mining, and poisoning the earth. Energy from the core weakened, and strange vibrations echoed from the mantle. Something ancient was waking up. In 2038, scientists at the Hollow Earth Research Institute detected seismic activity unlike anything seen before. Tremors shook the Pacific Rim, magnetic fields went wild, and an unknown form of energy, unlike any radiation or natural element, began to rise from deep underground. Dr. Elena Vasquez, the lead geologist, studied the readings. "It's coming from the same depth as Kong's last known location," she said. "But there's something else moving down there, too." At the same time, deep under the Mariana Trench, a massive rift opened. Out of it, something vast began to stir. Submarines sent to investigate vanished, their final transmissions filled with static, and the faint sound of hissing, like 1,000 snakes whispering at once. Medusa was returning. Her awakening poisoned the seas again. Coral reefs turned to stone, whales froze mid-swim, and the ocean boiled where her eyes gazed. Humanity, in its arrogance, believed it could fight her. Nuclear missiles, sonic bombs, mechs, all failed. Nothing could touch the Serpent Queen. But far away, in the jungles of Skull Island, tremors split the ground. A mountain cracked open, and out of the smoke rose a massive silhouette, a gorilla's face, scarred with stone, eyes glowing with golden fire. Kong had returned. He was slower now, heavier, his arms still partially petrified from that ancient battle, but his roar shook the heavens once more. The protector of Earth had awakened to finish what began 60 million years ago. When Medusa rose from the Pacific, the world trembled. Cities along the coast were destroyed by waves the size of skyscrapers. Her body was longer than the horizon, her eyes brighter than the sun. Storms gathered around her, lightning dancing across her scales. Kong stood on the shore looking out at her. The humans watched from satellites, from aircraft, from trembling bunkers deep beneath the ground. The war had begun again. Medusa struck first, her gaze cutting through mountains, turning forests into stone. Kong dodged the deadly light, leaping across the cliffs, smashing her serpents with his fists. The earth cracked beneath him as he tore boulders from the ground and hurled them at her with the force of meteorites. Medusa screamed, her voice shattering glass across continents. She wrapped her body around Kong, dragging him into the sea. The water boiled from her venom. Kong punched through her coils, his chest burning from her acidic touch. He seized her by the throat and roared into her face, the shockwave sending tsunamis miles high. They fought beneath the waves, through the trenches, through volcanic vents glowing like hellfire. Kong found the ruins of their ancient battlefield, their tomb, and with it, a strange crystal still glowing from the core's energy. The Heartstone, the same power he once used to seal Medusa away. He tore it from the ground, the light burning through his hand. Energy surged through him, renewing his strength. His eyes blazed brighter than ever before. Medusa lunged, her fangs sinking into his shoulder, venom pulsing through his veins. But Kong did not stop. He lifted her from the ocean, hurling her into the sky. Lightning struck as she screamed, falling back to earth. When she landed, the impact shattered entire islands. Kong leapt after her, his stone-covered arm glowing like molten steel. He slammed his fist into her chest, breaking through her scales. Medusa shrieked, her eyes flashing with deadly light, trying to turn him to stone once again. But the Heartstone within him glowed brighter, countering her curse. Her power began to falter. "You cannot win, ape," she roared, striking him with her tail. Kong caught it. "This is not your world," he thundered. He swung her into the cliffs, smashing them apart, then slammed her into the sea again and again until the waters turned red. Finally, he raised the Heartstone high, its energy pulsing like a living sun. With a roar that echoed through the atmosphere, Kong drove the Heartstone into Medusa's heart. The explosion lit up the entire ocean. For a moment, night turned to day. When the light faded, the sea was still. Steam rose into the air, and the sky turned crimson. Medusa's body, now solid stone, sank slowly into the depths, finally defeated. Kong stood in the shallow waters, his breath heavy, his body scorched and broken. But his eyes were calm. He looked toward the horizon, toward the dawn breaking through the smoke, and then turned back toward Skull Island. He had won, but not for glory. He had fought for balance, for the Earth itself. As he disappeared into the mist, Dr. Vasquez watched from a satellite feed. Her voice trembled as she whispered, "He's not our enemy. He's our guardian." The world would rebuild. The oceans would heal. But deep below, far beneath the stone tombs of the ocean floor, a faint pulse still glowed, the last flicker of Medusa's curse. For the Earth's throne is never truly claimed. It is merely borrowed, between gods, between monsters, between ages. And as long as the planet breathes, its protectors and destroyers will always rise again. The war was over.